I'll show you something insane right now. In 2025, the AI industry is set to spend over $330 billion. And most of that money isn't profit, it's debt. And here's the part no one talks about. Even if you think you're not investing in AI, you are. Because 40% of every dollar that goes into a basic S&P 500 index fund ends up in just 10 AI companies. You don't choose that. The system does. And those companies are pumping the same money around in a loop. Nvidia invests in OpenAI. OpenAI signs massive cloud contracts with Microsoft. Microsoft takes that demand and buys billions of Nvidia chips. And they all record growth, even if the money never came from real revenue. Meanwhile, across the world, companies are freezing hiring, cutting teams, and shifting everything they can to AI. So no, you're not losing your job because AI is better than you. You're losing it because the AI bubble is growing faster than the real economy. And when a bubble this big bursts, it won't take down investors. It will take down industries and the jobs inside them. But there is a way to protect yourself. Stay until the end. I'll show you exactly what you can do before this entire system snaps. Before we talk about how to protect ourselves, we need to understand what's actually happening. To see the full picture, we have to zoom out, way out. Because everything unfolding right now, the layoffs, the AI hype, the trillion-dollar valuations, was predicted almost 150 years ago. A philosopher of the industrial age warned that every new machine doesn't begin with progress. It begins with disruption, unemployment, and power shifting upward. He described a future where technology wouldn't just replace muscle, it would eventually replace human labor itself. That thinker was Karl Marx, and whether you like him or hate him, his prediction was brutally simple.
The more advanced the tool becomes, the less control the worker has.
During the first industrial revolution, machines didn't empower people, they erased entire professions. A machine that replaced 10 men cost less than feeding one. What we're living through now is the exact same cycle. But this time, the machine doesn't replace your hands, it replaces your mind. And unlike steam engines or factories, AI doesn't run on coal or steel. It runs on something far more powerful, data and compute. And that's where the danger begins, because compute isn't infinite, data isn't infinite, and the people who control them control the entire direction of the world economy. In 2024 and 2025, AI training costs exploded so violently that only a tiny elite could keep up. Big tech, nation-states, and trillion-dollar funds backing them. So instead of decentralizing power, AI concentrated it, collapsing the entire industry into 3 cloud providers, 1 chip manufacturer, and a few AI labs burning billions per month. And while the world celebrates progress, the truth is darker.
We've entered a new kind of digital feudalism. The lords own the compute, and everyone else generates the data. Your posts, your photos, your voice notes, everything you've ever uploaded is being scraped and fed into a system designed to outgrow you. The more data AI consumes, the stronger the bubble becomes, and the more fragile the job market gets.
And here's the shift nobody wants to admit. AI companies aren't growing because of real profits. They're growing because of circular financing, hidden debt, and market structures pumped beyond reality. That means this whole boom isn't standing on innovation, it's standing on leverage. And leverage always works. Until the exact moment it doesn't. And when this one breaks, it won't be a tech crash. It will be a labor crash. So let's break down how this bubble actually works. Because it's not magic, it's math. Imagine a system where companies don't grow because people buy their products, but because they buy each other's hype. Here's the loop. Nvidia invests in OpenAI. OpenAI signs massive cloud contracts with Microsoft. Microsoft buys billions in Nvidia GPUs. So the money goes from Nvidia to OpenAI to Microsoft to back to Nvidia. And every company books that cycle as growth. But growth from borrowed money isn't growth. It's inflation, a valuation. In 2025 alone, AI giants are spending $330 billion just to keep this loop going. Not on salaries, not on product, on compute, GPU farms, data centers, and electricity. And here's the insane part. To justify their stock prices, these companies would need to generate $2 trillion a year in revenue. Even combined, they don't come close. So how do they fund all this? With debt. Debt that doesn't show up on the balance sheet. It's pushed through private credit, special purpose vehicles, joint ventures, and circular financing structures designed to look like revenue. This is the same playbook that led to the housing bubble of 2008. Only now, it's happening in tech. And here's the trick that pulls you into the bubble, even if you never bought a single tech stock. Because the S&P 500 is market cap weighted, the bigger these companies get, the more money automatically flows to them. That's why the top 5 companies make up almost 30% of the entire index. You don't choose to invest in AI. The system forces you to. And when companies become this big, they're no longer private companies. They become national assets, too big to fail, too strategic to collapse. Even Sam Altman said the quiet part out loud.
At some point, the federal government becomes the insurer of last resort.
Translation? If this bubble blows up, taxpayers are the bailout plan. And here's the part that nobody sees coming. When the money stops flowing, AI labs won't go bankrupt. Your employer will. Because companies aren't investing in AI to grow their teams. They're investing so they don't need teams. So when the bubble pops, AI companies will survive. They'll get bailed out. But millions of workers won't. So the real question is, what can you do before this bubble bursts? First, stop thinking in terms of job security. Because that world is gone. What matters now is skill security. Skills that AI can't fully automate. Creativity, strategy, judgment, communication, problem framing. These are the leverage multipliers of the new economy. If you learn to use AI as a tool, not a threat, you don't compete against the machine, you compete with it. Second, position yourself in places AI can't easily replace. Not industries, roles. Roles where AI is a co-pilot, not a substitute. Roles that require systems thinking, decision-making, client interaction, leadership, ethics, human context. These are the roles that survive every revolution. They survived steam engines, electricity, the microchip. They will survive AI too. Third, build economic resilience outside the corporate system. That means creating something the bubble can't take away. A personal brand, a second source of income, technical literacy, and a network that exists beyond your job title. Not to get rich quick, but to avoid being wiped out when the system resets. This isn't about predicting the future. It's about not being dependent on a system that's already unstable. The AI revolution isn't a threat if you understand it. What's dangerous is ignoring it while everyone else moves forward. So if you want to stay ahead of this wave, not under it, subscribe. Because in my next videos, I'll break down exactly which skills, which industries, and which opportunities will survive the collapse. You don't have to fear the system. You just have to understand it before it understands you.